This conference will now be recorded.
Hello. Hello, everyone. Good morning.
Good morning, Karthik.
Good morning, Rajendra. So, before we move on to the next coming session, do we have any questions from the yesterday's class?
For me, no.
Okay. So today we'll discuss about initial load, troubleshooting, and the list of baddies that we generally do an implementation in most of the implementation projects. That's what our objective for today. Able to see my screen?
Yes, Karthik.
Yes,
Okay. So when I say initial load, what do we think of initial load? What activity that it's supposed to do? Any rough idea?
Karthik, the main point I can say that to format the file, like we design the file as per our requirement.
Karthik, when you go for a rollout or for a new plant or something like that, so
I'm listening. Echo, yeah.
go for a rollout project for new plant, new division. That time, new data should be come to MDG. So by initial load, you bring the data.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Any other views? So when we discuss the deployment options, we discussed about initial load as one of the activity, right? Where bots will do an initial load on specific use cases and MDG consultant will do an initial load in some scenarios. Can we recall those scenarios? What it was? Let me open the deployment options. In hub reuse mode, all the existing data which is there in Mara table has to be loaded into MDG hub table, right? So when we are discussing this, we said this is called as initial load, and which will be done by bots. Similarly, when it was a flex mode, all the existing data of CSKS table, this data will be loaded into MDG staging table, and this we referred as it's an initial load, which will be done by a combination of MDG functional consultants and end users. So we need to make the data availability wherever the MDG application is being installed and configured. To make it simple, this is a one-line statement that we can make. We need to bring the data available, existing data available, wherever the MDG application is being installed and configured. Then we call it as an initial load. Right? Generally, this initial load at customer sites, this would happen, or this would be sometimes also called as data migration sometimes, where you have the data in different formats, then you build some Excel file or some text file, and then you load the data into your respective systems. Since the amount of data is huge, you are moving from one technology to another technology. We call it as data migration, where the data migration also has a little amount of data transformations and data messaging. That means, say for example, you have tax numbers in vendor master and you don't have the tax numbers at the business partner level. It will be given as per format as a tax category as one of the table. So you need to map this tax numbers into tax type as a data transformation. All these things that you will do as a data migration activity. Now when we are saying initial load is something you have the data already available in your structures. You are not going to change the structures anymore. The objective of initial load is you have the data already available with you. You do not do any transformations to the data. You do not do any conversions to the data. You'll just take the dump of the data as an extraction, and then you load the data into the respective format. And here the volume would be less, and the number of dependencies to your master data would also be less. So this is called as initial load. Sorry. sorry. Extract the existing data from various sources and load the data into an MDG system. It can be staging for Flex, or it can be MDG ERP tables for reuse mode. Okay, now let's discuss the various options available to do this initial load. This is one MDG system which has MDG installed and ERP tables also there. Now you have some source system, one business system. Initially, you will extract the data and you standardize the data and you cleanse the data. Then you do the quality assessment of the data. And then you will load the data. This is what the list of number of steps which would happen as part of a data cleansing activity or data migration. Now, there would be some data quality checks which would happen. So it's just like, when someone is going for a treatment, medical treatment, they will take reports before the treatment and reports after the treatment, right? To see whether, say, any scanning, to see whether there is a fracture, and then after the treatment, the fracture has to be, fixed. So similarly, when they extract the data, They will do the data quality health checks once they do extraction. Now, when I'm saying standardizing cleansing, these two parts, standardize and cleansing, can happen with various tools. Now, let me show you some of the scenarios how it can work. Now, let's say the data has been extracted. Now, health check has been done. Data health check. Now, if the health check is good, that means the data quality is good. Or bad. If it is bad, then it has to go for cleansing. Now, in cleansing, there can be MDC, master data consolidation, can help in doing cleansing. Bots plus combination of Informatica can do a data cleansing. There are some third-party tools, lot many third-party tools, which supports this cleansing. Now, if it is MDC, then the result can be, again, after doing cleansing, the result can be again good and bad. I would say unique materials have been identified, error materials have been identified as a result. So we still have an option in MDC. If the records are correct, do you want to create a change request for the records which are correct, which are having quality standards? Do you want to create an MDG change request, or you want to directly push the data into an MDG ERP tables? So this option we can choose in MDG, and most often if the records are correct, then we don't go for MDG. But error records, definitely it will trigger a CR in MDG. And finally it
Hello,
goes to,
Karthik. Hello, Karthik.
yeah,
Actually, all the MDG consultant or other team is there.
all these things would be a data migration or data cleansing team. There would be a different teams.
From where the MDG consultant comes into picture?
Yeah. So you need to allow me for the next 2 minutes.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. So here, when there is an error, then it will trigger a change request in MDG. And then it will come into, I mean, it's an as usual process. It will go through an approval process, and finally the error record will be identified, rectified, give all the missing information. Finally, on approval, it will go to ERP system. If bots or Informatica is doing, they might require sometimes an MDG change request to be triggered. For that, again, there is no standard approach. For that, the API program which I discussed yesterday, there should be some program which will trigger a CR in MDG. Similarly, the third-party tools. Right? So these are some scenarios which we are talking about. Now, let's say the data health check is done and the data is good. Even sometimes we need to do the initial loading. Bots cannot help, MDC cannot help, third-party tools cannot help because the flex mode, we need to directly load the data into MDG staging tables. For that, we need to do data import framework or file upload tools using which we will load the data into an MDG system, MDG staging tables. Now, if you ask me wherever MDG consultant is required, here his participation is required to load the data using DAF or file upload into MDG staging table. Here, his participation is required to configure the CR type which can be used in MDC. Here his role is there to develop a custom program. So all this we are discussing to understand what are the various possibilities that the initial load request can come into MDG. Sometimes, if we are taking an example of material
Karthik,
master,
one more question.
yeah,
Actually, you tell me like flex that BP vendor customer, we can go for DIF. Only finance data go for DIF.
I missed your question between.
So you tell me for flex mode, you are using DIF generally.
For flex
What
mode, DAF or file upload is mandatory.
or mandatory? Or for a reuse mode, it's not mandatory.
It is not, it's an optional. You either go with DAF or file upload or you go with MDC.
Okay, okay.
Master data consolidation only supports for reuse modes.
Okay, so you mean to say if the in MDC, if it is data is correct, then CR is not generated in as per your.
That is again an option that we can configure in MDC.
Even if
You can integrate with MDG for every single mode, or you can segregate. If there is any error, then only it will trigger a change request. This option that
so if
someone can configure an MDC level.
if it is correct, then it directly go to the ERP.
It directly goes to ERP. It don't go to MDG.
Okay, got it. Got it.
Yeah. So this is something, an initial load perspective which we are talking. right? Before MDG project starts, this is what a team will perform. See, now there would be various strategies to do this initial load. There is one customer scenario where they wanted to do initial loading for business partner, and they don't wanted to go with any custom approach. The client is very clear that they don't want any custom approach. No enhancements are required. Anything, it has to go with the standard. So from SAP bots or Informatica, the data cannot be directly go into MDG system, right? So what they have done, just for your example, they have first extracted the data, then load the data into SAP bots, and then loaded the data into MDC just because of SDT tool, which supports for HANA, from MDC to MDG, and from MDG to ERP tables. Why did they move the data to MDC? Because SDT tool can read the data from bots and it can push the data into MDC directly. That's the reason they implemented MDC. And why they implemented MDC? Because MDC can directly talk with MDG system. They could have avoided these two steps if they implement any custom program, but they don't want to do it. So the project got an expertise from SDT tool. They recruited an HANA smart data quality tools, and they recruited a MDG consultant who does MDC also, and then into MDG and then ERP. So this initial load is a concept which happens in various dimensions. We cannot say this is the best practice. We need to understand the scope, the purpose of each tool, how it is meant. MDC is not meant for data loading. It is only meant for consolidation. Bots is meant for data loading. It is not meant for consolidation. MDG is meant for governance, not meant to load the data. So we need to understand the purpose, the capabilities of each tool, and accordingly we need to perform the changes. Yes, MDG supports little amount of cleansing. Sorry, data loading, but that isn't using just because of it. Suppose the loading, you cannot avoid the tools of bots or third-party tools and MDC, and you wanted to do the complete data loading using MDG itself. Then you are misusing the tool. Obviously,
Karthik,
your project would get impacted. Yeah.
yeah, just one interruption. So in that case, you are telling that when a rollout project or a implementation will be there, so we need to have different tools to upload the data, different tool to cleansing the data, and MDG will be managing the data tool, managing, correct?
Exactly. True. And that's how the projects will be.
Okay. So like in that, then who will be governing us? See, MDC, there will be multiple independent tools will be there. So could you able to advise us which, if someone will ask, which all the tools we can say?
Generally, what happens when the RFP has been released by the customer, right? In the RFP, in the response to the RFP, in the oral sittings, what your company will propose the customer? Hey, you have so many data pointers available, say systems, system one, two, three, four. Three example, I'm just taking a scenario. 3 and 4 are more likely same,
Mhm.
and 2 has a different set of business. The data standards are different, and 1 is different. Okay, and let's say the customer earlier he is using 4 different systems. Okay, now
Yes.
for him the maintenance here is huge. Everything assume that it's an SAP system. For him the maintenance of 4 different system is huge. Infrastructure is huge.
Correct.
And now he wants to consolidate the business processes also. He is maintaining 4 different systems because there is a variation in the way how the business process is being handled. So he wants to consolidate the business process, unify the business process, which will also unify the system. Okay, if that is the requirement, then our team, our sales team or pre-sales team or engineering teams, solution engineering team, they will propose you have 4 different data that would be extracted by a team.
Mhm.
One team that would be analyzed by one team. For this analysis, they might not actually see these persons in the project. This is completely different team, and this is completely different team.
Yeah, because extract and analysis will be from the business side.
No, analysis will be done by your company side, not from the
Okay.
business.
Okay.
Business, they are not a technical people, right? They'll just extract and give it to you.
Okay.
And then there would be data champions.
Mhm.
There are some data analyzer tools as well. Some data champions, after analysis, they will identify the risks. Then they will propose that it requires data cleansing. And cleansing also happens in various levels, level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. When I say level 4, it's a on-field level cleansing. That means you have let's say you have a big generator available, okay, on your plant. That generator information is not actually captured in a material description. There are no details about the generator except saying generator. So someone has to go to the plant and see the barcode, see the equipment number for the generator, see who is the manufacturer ID, get the invoice details, everything. He needs to go to the field and capture all the details and then load the data into MDG system. Not MDG system. Do the cleansing activity. So there would be various levels available. Now, they will propose the loading strategies. So the strategy will be identified. They'll come to the conclusion based on the cleansing exercise. What would be the result of the cleansing? How much of data has to be actually loaded by doing transformations? How much of data directly can be loaded into the system? Then they will identify various tools. Okay. Now the tools which I talked about, bots or MDC or third-party tools. Sometimes, how many of you know LSMWs? Sometimes they will write only ls and w
Okay.
to load the data. If the data is directly movable without doing any transformations, they'll write ls and w, standard SAP programs, using which they will load the data. Now, this comes with a strategy. Now, in an RFP or in a project also, they will give if it is LSMW, our cost would be this much. There will be some breakups. Okay. Then, existing identified data has been analyzed, identified the risks, cleansed it, and then they are loading it. Now, what we have to do, we need to make sure how the new data, upcoming data, whatever being created or whatever being cleansed, will follow the data quality standards, so that there should not be any new exercise again for the data champions to identify the risk or data cleansing team to perform the cleansing activities. Some tool has to enforce that the data creation will meet the data quality standards. Then they will say, okay, then go and implement MDG. Using MDG, your data will be always meeting the high quality standards. Okay, so we don't know what happens in the background. All this story would happen in the background as a project implementation, and finally they will give you an MDG implementation scope. These are the master data solutions. You have to implement and you have to implement uh, MDG business partner or FI or whatever it can be. Then when we say MDG is part of the scope, then they will analyze how many customizations are there in standard SAP tables, and accordingly it requires an enhancement in MDG. All those things would happen in the requirement gathering. So MDG team will only involve if there is an MDG scope in the project. And MDG stands at the third or fourth level in the project lifecycle. Right? Data extraction, first cycle. Data extraction and analysis is first level. Identifying the risk is second level. Cleansing is third level. And data loading strategy is fourth level, and MDG is at fifth level. Does it sound good?
Yes. Yes, Karthik.
So at times your material masters, generally if a bomb has to be created, they have to create 100 materials at a time. Or sometimes, especially in material master, there will be so many dynamics. Sometimes they will create 300 material codes in a single shot. So for that, you cannot expect that they have to go to create material for 300 times and do an approval process separately. Then initial load can be helpful for them. They can do initial load. They can have a file, an Excel file where they can give all the data in an Excel file, and then they load that into a MDG system, which will go through an approval process as a single CR. So initial load is not always meant to be, to load the existing data. Sometimes, example as I'm telling you, it can also use to handle the mass creation of materials. Why I'm saying materials, because only material domain has this dynamic of creation mass master data objects in a single go. Okay. Now, since there are so many things, I would just like to highlight MDC, because so many people will ask about MDC. How does it work? Whether it's an MDG consultant role to learn MDC or it's a different person who will do the MDC. I'll just talk about MDC here. MDC is a different software component. For MDC, there is a prerequisite. MDC UI runs on Fiori. So you should have Fiori component as a prerequisite. MDC cannot support flex mode, supports only reuse modes. And not all data which is available in master data would be supported by MDC. Example, material business partner relationships are not supported. Material classifications is not supported. Not only these two, I'm saying these are, since these two are important, I'm saying these two. There are other scenarios where your master data consolidation will not support. The scope of customization. Hub model consolidation does not. Hub model consolidation is not feasible. So if you say these many limitations of master data consolidations, I'm not saying restrictions, limitations, then obviously customer will not go for MDC. Okay, and who will learn this? This is an open platform. Generally, the cleansing team, the one which we talked about, cleansing department here, this cleansing team will learn master data consolidation. And MDG people will also learn master data consolidation. And the number of hours to learn the consolidation would be hardly 10 hours, not more than that. And it requires, sorry, there is no, well, I mentioned this part, less scope of customization. Customization is also not part of this. Yeah. Anything that you want to ask on MDC?
Karthik, what is meant by Ethiopia MDG?
They have their own MDC tool. It's not standard SAP MDC. As I told you, there are some third-party tools right here. third-party tools. Utopia has their own tool, third-party tool. Utopia has
Okay.
their own tool, and
Oh,
SNV has an own tool. Pylog has an own tool. SNV says it's a data workbench tool.
okay, that is not our SAP MDG then. So I got a
No.
requirement in a project. So they are asking for SAP MDG Ethiopia.
Okay.
So
For
that is not
EAM,
our tool.
for EAM,
Yeah, yeah,
for EAM, you're saying enterprise asset management.
yeah, yeah, for EM only.
Okay, so maybe they're talking about consolidation, master data consolidation. As I told you, it will support only reuse modes, right? EAM is also a reuse mode solution. So they have master data consolidation related business functions to be activated. If you activate, you can start using standard SAP MDC for EAM solution.
Okay, the requirement is like this. They are asking for using Ethiopia MDG and need to do the fit gap analysis. Yeah. So can I take up that role? That's what my question.
MDC or MDG?
MDG only.
Yeah, MDG you can take it up.
So, but there because the project manager also don't have idea about the tool, what exactly is the right tool they are using. That is new scope of the project, and they are asking me for MDG role for identifying the understanding the to document the fit gap analysis. On top of it, they are using the Ethiopia MDG tool. So even I am not aware what exactly to be done. That is the reason I am asking this question.
MDG tool, right? You are saying it's not like tool, it's like solution. Example. Able to see this? Hello? Hello? Am I audible?
Yeah, I can see. I can
Yes,
see.
yes, Karthik, you are audible.
I can.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're audible.
So there are these documents. EAM solution has a functional location, task list, measuring points, work centers, equipment master, object network master. There are various master data objects which are delivered as an EAM solution, using which you need to activate. Even they will also give you some foundations. These are all like standard SAP guide which we discussed. Okay, setup workflow. There are some roles. So finally, the moment you activate this solution, you will see these are all the object types which they will be delivered. Finally, the moment you activate the solution, you will see like master data governance for EAM as an object, as a menu in your NWBC. There will not be any differences. The way that you implement the standard solution, you will implement this Utopia solution as well. So the expectation on your side would be, what are the fields which are used by your client? What are the fields that are they using in equipment functional location? All those fields are available in the solution or not? Are there any enhancement in the customer customer equipment tables or functional location tables. How do you bring those custom functionalities into MDG? What is the current approval process which they are following for EM objects? You need to map them with an MDG approval process. All these things you need to do as a fit gap analysis.
Okay, I got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Now, we'll discuss about MDG related tools. In MDG, how many ways we can load the data? DIF, file, upload. Now, again, we need to understand the purpose of two options. This is record by record. Let's say if you have material, that material extension to a plant, that material extension to a storage locations, all these things would be called as a record, a material record. One material extended to plant A and plant A extended to A.1 and A.2. There are two records. Again, that material is extended to plant B and plant B has one storage location. So there are three records, but ultimately we are saying it is one master data record. So all attributes of your master data objects will be part of a column, and you will load this data as a single record. But in file upload, this is entity by entity. That means first you load the basic view, then you will load the plant view, and then you load the, when I say view, it's a entity or UI, storage location. And DAF can be configured for heavy records, 3000 to 10,000. File upload is recommended to have 0 to 2K records in a file. Now, adding a field, let's say if there is any custom field which you need to include in a DIF, it's a high efforts. For customizing. and here it is low efforts. For customizing. And heavy setup required, no setup. Ready to use. These are the differences between using DAF and file upload. You might be asked about, when do you go for DAF or when do you go for file upload? Then you need to come up with these answers. Or rather, I would.
Hello, Karthik.
Yeah.
Different
This,
type of entity type in single Excel sheet. If it is present, then can I upload? In DIF, not file upload.
yeah, you can do it.
So that Excel may be contain different type of entity type. Okay.
Correct.
Hello.
Correct.
Okay. Okay.
And there is one more thing. So when I say based on solution, it can support XML, Excel, TXT, CSV. This depends on the solution who are providing. Let's take a Utopia solution. Utopia is uh, having EAM and RF. So EAM they will sell with CSV solution. They have CSV and Excel. They don't have XML and TXT. And SAP Business Partner has XML, only XML. Recently they released Excel as well. MM supports Excel and XML both. Finance solution does not support anything here. DAF is not supported for finance solution. But you can universally use TXT and CSV files for any kind of a solution. Even if your custom solution, let's say you build a custom solution, for that the file upload can be used directly. You don't require to develop anything. But if it is a DAF, you need a development. Just a moment. So when I say setup required high, yes, it requires file type configuration, AL11 configuration, and MDG, AMG configurations for DAF. There is in MDG, AMG configuration, we need to configure the extractor classes, everything, which will automatically come when you activate the business function. But we need to make sure if those are exist or not. Here there is no configuration. I should say there is not even low. It is not required. A directly ready to be used solution. Okay, so one more thing. Because these are the high level differences which you need to talk about in any discussions when you have the differences between DAF and file upload. Okay, now let me show you how a file upload will work. So let me go to this profit center. In this profit center, you would be seeing the processing of multiple objects node. In this, you have file upload and file download. So to upload a file into an MDG system, we need a template, right? So in some template, we need to feed in the data and then you upload that file. So how do we generate that template? Is using file download application. The moment you select the file download, you'll get an option of entity type. So right now it is showing business partner related entities. Now how do I change it to a finance solution? I have changed model. So here I would say 0G. Now in the entity type, I got all master data objects. So meanwhile, parallelly what I'll do, for me to upload a record, I need to at least have the mandatory fields to create the profit center in my file upload. Right? Using, if there are no mandatory fields, I'll get an error. So for that, what I'll do, I'll just try to create a profit center once and see what are the mandatory fields. I need a controlling area. Say 1000. Profit center name QW just for an example. New profit center. Person responsible is something like, I think. Okay, I think there are someone has done enhancement here. One custom field. So totally how many fields? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fields. It is mandatory to create a cost center. Sorry, profit center.
Hello, Karthik.
Yes, please.
Enhance on UI. How to know which field
Sorry.
is enhanced? Is there any way? Suppose you see in the screen someone is enhanced.
Okay.
To know is the extra field someone is added?
Now, looking at the field, we cannot say. Now, as I see, they label it as custom field. I'm saying custom field. And since I do work in the profit center multiple times, I can say that
Oh,
looking at the field name, it's just comes with an experience.
oh, experience. Okay.
So type of transfer, we'll select attributes always. And addition is mandatory. You're getting one addition because it's a flex mode. Now you can create a template in a variant and you can use the variant also. But right now, I don't want to use an existing variant. I'll create a new variant. Now this will also show you how you can load the active data. I mean, in the template, it will show you how you can represent the data. I'll search for a profit center. Triple 955 is one profit center available. Triple 955 is a profit center. Now I need to get the columns which are mandatory. So controlling area was mandatory into the data row, and name was mandatory. New profit center was mandatory. Person responsible was mandatory. And profit center name is mandatory. Person responsible, new profit center we got, profit center we got, name we got, controlling area we got. I will just change the sequence also. Profit center, I wanted this to be just after the name. Yeah. Then this template, I'm saying I want a complete download, and this is download changes only. That means it does not load all the attributes. The attributes which went for a change, only those attributes will be downloaded. I don't want it. I want the complete record download. And there might be the conversion routines like date, internal format and external format, number, internal format and external format. Do you want to execute those conversions? I don't want any conversions. And separator is a semicolon here. We have comma separator. And there would be some technical details like what is the data model, which user download the data, which entity they have been downloaded, what is the download date. All those things would be part of a header, which is not actually part of a data upload. So those lines will be commented by using commenter called star. So I can save this as a variant.
स्लो करना
Hello, Karthik.
Yeah.
Karthik,
Yeah.
in previous screen you changed some sequence. How you, why you change and how you know? Can you show? I missed that step.
Okay.
Some you take. Why?
See, in a file, it's something, we just need to uh, see the weighted fields. Now, if you look at the controlling area, profit center, and name, these are the key fields.
Okay.
So that's why I kept them in a first sequence, in the first priority in my sequence.
No, no.
New
So
profit, yeah.
whether it will be name one should be first or profit center should be first, how you know? That is okay. You bring.
There is no difference when you keep name or profit center first. It's just our call. But if you look at this application, see, you have profit center name here and then followed by name.
Okay.
So it really gives you a comfort when you're looking at the Excel file where you give 1000 and profit center name, number and the name side by side so that you can relate it in your
Okay.
UI application also, right?
Okay. So that you should first give controlling area, profit center, their name. Huh?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, now I say execute download. The file is ready for the download. Okay, 0 records. There is no record for it. Let me open one more. So if the same file, if you wanted to convert it into CSV, what you would be doing, so when you are saving this file, you can say save as .csv. No, the formatting went wrong.
No, Karthik, that checkbox why you use download active only? What is the use?
It is filtered. Instead of, there might be so many inactive records. So why to have those many inactive records in a download file?
Okay, only active record it will be download from MDG.
Correct. First I'll say file upload profit center. This is how the file is created. Now what I'll do, I'll just delete all these records. Here I'll say Karthik. These are the two records which I'm having in a file upload template. Now I'll go to file upload. Here I'll select the variant. The same variant which I have used to download the file, I selected the same variant. And here I'm selecting the file from the presentation server. We need to remember whatever the separators that we have used, whatever the uploading settings that we have used when we are downloading the file, we should follow the same settings. Else there would be an errors in a file upload. So they are saying the edition is already released. There is no edition. So I'll go back. Select a new edition. I'll create a new edition.
Hello, Karthik, how that edition is released? Because you use in file download that same edition.
Edition released, I show you, no, in the last exercise. How
No,
to
no,
be released
no.
an edition.
How to be, I'm not asking how to be released. I'm asking when you download the file, you give some edition. Okay. So same edition when you use for file upload, it's showing the error edition is released. So how it is
Correct.
released? But
I
you are you
downloaded, I selected the edition which was already released. Why do
so
we
you are
need
not
an, why it is not
you
allowing in upload and why it was allowing in download? Because extraction, you are not doing any data changes.
okay. When you upload, you changes the data changes. That's why okay.
Right.
Mhm.
So it is saying this is already in use. Maybe we can use this edition. 2 4. PC2. So here I'll create a mass change request for profit center, and then I'll use the change request there. Generally what happens is when we are loading the data, it will ask for a CR there. Think so here it has generated a change request which is in a draft mode. Then I'll go to file upload again. Next. Here, generally, the moment we do upload, here system will ask a pop-up to select the change request. In the pop-up, we'll select the change request and we say execute upload. It will automatically load all the data into MDG. Let me try with the other file upload templates. ZGL account. The year of 2016. So I need to debug this application. Maybe this one I'll show that in the next session. We are just one step ahead to complete this initial load. The moment we come to this step, When we say execute upload, system will show a pop-up with the available change request. If the available change request is not there, the system will show a pop-up to give the CR type, CR description, change request reason, and uh, a small notes in the pop-up. So the moment we give the CR number, say execute upload, all these records will be loaded into MDG system. That's how the scenario would be. Maybe in the next session I'll show you in the same system, or if I able to crack it, I'll do this in the same system, else I'll show that in a different system.
Karthik, I'm having some clarification. The first one is now we are taking the template for entity type file download. Based on the template, we are doing upload. If entity type, if I'm going by record, how I will take the template? What is the process?
Record by record means
Uh,
DAF?
for this, we have two options you told, correct? Either entity type or whole record process, record by record, initial
See,
time.
it's DAF is what
Yeah,
we discussed, like it's
yes,
a record by record, right?
yeah. If you go with the DIF means how to get the template. Any other option is there?
Okay. Now, if you see this, Excel upload for business partner data, okay, and they have given vendor XLS list. This is the template which we cannot generate this template. This template has to be provided by the solution developers.
Solution and development means whom? I
I mean,
didn't get the point.
business partner, it's an SAP. SAP has to provide this template.
Okay.
Utopia will provide a template. SNV will provide a template. Pylog will provide a template.
So based on this template, the same process we have to do the upload or any other option is there? Because
You cannot change. You cannot change any column sequence. Any changes will reflect errors.
yeah, that's fine. But my question is based on this template for
Mhm.
uploading process, the same process we are going to do. Just choose the file and
No,
this one or
no. There is something called data import framework.
okay.
Import master data. Okay.
Okay.
So we'll select this one. Here we'll select the object type. Say Bupa business partner. And here you have governance settings also. As I told you, governance, when you say governance, it will trigger a change request. If you unselect this governance, it will directly load the data. Okay, and this import can be scheduled for a future import as a background job, or you can directly import it now. And when you add the source, here there will be a source directory which should come from AL11. In the source directory, AL11, this comes from AL11.
So before upload the file is supposed to be in A11. We need to first upload in A11, then only we supposed to be processed.
Correct.
So if I'm instead of background, if I'm going by foreground mode, means I can choose the file in the desktop, right? Or it's a compulsory you have to do in A11 only in this particular process.
Compulsory it will be 11.
Fine.
So you don't have an option foreground or background. It's the current import or future import.
Okay. I got it.
Yeah.
I got this one.
I think I didn't get you. Why we said that in AL11, like, see, we can use if in future also or current also, then we can use from desktop.
No, I'm saying the option is not available.
Okay.
For you, the option to select it from your desktop is not available.
Okay.
Always the data source come from a directory. That's the source directory is A11.
Okay.
Okay. So why not directly a file? Because as we discussed, it's a minimum 3,000 to 10,000 you would require this PIF.
Okay. No, if LSMW if I'm doing, then AL11 will not work in that case.
LSMW is, see, LSMW, why do we go for LSMW? Data import framework is something which will enable the rules which will integrate with MDG application,
Okay.
right? Which
Yes.
your LSMW can't do it.
Okay. Okay.
My another question, Karthik, while uploading the data, take the example material master, we have uploaded almost 1,000 materials, and each material can contain some supporting files, means image. That image also I need to attach for the particular material. So once upload the material, then we have to attach the supporting images by manual, or that also via direct process there. Any other option is there?
That depends on how you are configuring your attachments. There is something called DOS attachments,
Okay.
DMS, Document Management Services.
Okay.
If it is DMS, you don't require to load it again, because DMS is a centralized server which will hold the attachment related to a material. It can be in any system.
Okay.
Say material 1 is having an attachment to A. If the material 1 is available in MDG system, it will automatically have an attachment A.
Okay. So in this, go ahead.
Most of the components will use DMS. So you check whether the DMS is implemented or not.
Okay,
If not,
okay.
If not, you need to explicitly add the attachments to a material.
Fine. My question is, they already uploaded all the materials and the DMS system also there. Now they need to attach the images. So for the example, 5 material, each material contains 2 to 3 images. So I have to choose 5 materials and that images also one time for 15 images. Automatically it will be segregated the material, or each material I need to choose and I have to upload the material images.
Each material you need to choose.
So that is each material I need to choose, and that 5 or 6 file I need to attach.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, Karthik. I have one doubt. In file upload, so one pop-up will become, you tell here you have to give change request type or something. So every time it's mandatory file upload, you have to create change request through change request type.
Yeah, I mean that's a common practice in MDG, right? Without having a CR, you are not supposed to do any creation or changes.
No, in import upload in
Even
import framework, showing that is a checkbox whether it will be through change request or without change request. Okay, that governance checkbox.
that is in DIF.
DIF. So same thing in file upload is always through CR.
Yeah, it is always CR, correct.
So that CR number newly generated, or it will already generated some or how?
Newly generated. It will
Okay, you
ask
have
you
to
a
give.
pop-up.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay, 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 got it. So it go through again approval process. Okay,
yeah. It goes through an approval process.
okay. Okay.
Karthik, you told me the DMS server supposed to be there if then you're able to do the file attachment. So the DMS server configuration, how to do? Whether that is a basis to do or
It's a
we supposed to be able to do
basis activity. It's a different
basis
server
activity.
altogether. Yeah, they will
So
create a server, they'll map it to MDG.
if the DMS server is available or not, how to identify any method is there?
Mm,
If I'm joining the project, just I'm going to validate what are the option is there. In that case, if DMS servers they configured or not, where exactly I will go and check.
that even I'm not aware about it.
Fine.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So thank you all. Next week we'll connect and we'll do troubleshooting solution specific. Okay, so there is one document which I will send it to you. Have just go through the document and it talks about the business scenarios. Just a moment, I'll open it.
Hello, Karthik.
Yeah.
Hello,
Yes, please.
Karthik. That documents we are not really getting from institute. I mean, I'm not sure whether it is just me or maybe other people can also. Because I think for the UI also which you had shown, you told that some document you were to share, but I don't think that I have got that document.
No, even for me also, still I have not received. Even I have multiple times called. That's telling that we'll share. We need to check all these things.
Yeah, because only recordings we are getting, but documents not getting. Can you please check with the institute once, because we don't know, like we keep on talking about the documents in class but not getting finally.
Yeah, we'll definitely check. I'll check it today with them. Maybe I wrap all the documents into one folder and share it to them so that you'll all get it.
Yeah, that will be better, so that all the documents we can get at one place.
Yeah.
Karthik, sorry, the final question. The file attachment means image attachment, that only we can do on DMS server or a normal place also. Is it possible to attach any attachments?
There is GAUS attachments,
Okay.
DMS attachments given by SAP, and
Okay.
MDG has attachments in its own table.
Okay. So
In
can
those
you
tables,
example let us just one file attachment, just a notepad or anything. how to do attachment, the path. Next class.
Yeah, I can show it.
Okay, thank you.
So I'm going to share you this document, use cases. These are some RFPs which we received in the previous exercises. So I share these RFPs to you. You think about an MDG solution, what your proposal can be, and we'll discuss if the proposal is going need any changes. Some solution specific documents. Okay, I'll share the document also in the same list. Fine then. Let's catch up in the next session and we'll discuss about them. Okay. Thank you all.
Thank you, Karthik.